Welcome to the Hygieia Strength Podcast, brought to you by Hygieia Strength Conditioning in Singapore, where we discuss all things strength and how to get stronger for life. Hi everyone, welcome to the Hygieia Strength Podcast. We are your hosts, Shaun and Marvin from Hygieia Strength and Conditioning Gym based in Singapore. So this is our very first episode, and to start off our podcast, we thought that we'd be good to share a bit about ourselves, how we started training, how we got into barbell strength training, how the gym came about, and how we decided that we wanted to focus on working and getting older adults stronger. And then we will follow by why strength is important for this demographic, how to get them stronger, and to address any of the common concerns that they might have. So to start off a bit about myself, to do so, we need to go back quite a far ways back. So growing up, I was a fat kid for most of my life. I think I started getting fat, 8 years old, or maybe 7 or 8 years old. And I stayed that way all the way till I was about 19 or so. And throughout this whole time, I've tried many times to sort of get the weight off and try to lose weight, but it didn't succeed. And one day, when I was 19 years old, I was sitting down and chatting with a friend of mine. And he casually mentioned that, we're 19 years old, we should be at the peak or in very good physical health and shape. But looking at ourselves, we were not anywhere close to that, right? I was fat, out of shape, got out of breath walking up the stairs. And later that night when I got home, I thought about it a little bit. And he's saying, he's right. We're 19. We should be at the peak of our physical health and existence.
Appearance,
and
maybe.
I thought, an appearance, at that age, definitely appearance as well. And that sort of lit a fire under my ass. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna do something about it. And so I did. I started eating better, eating cleaner, started exercising, started running a whole bunch, just doing whatever I thought is correct to get the weight off. And so fast forward about a year later, I lost about 24, 25 kgs. And I thought, okay, cool. So I've lost the weight that I wanted to lose. I've achieved my goal. So what do I do next? So I tried a whole bunch of other exercises to sort of find what my next goal or target would be. So I tried things like, kettlebells, I tried TRX, and I was just faffing around for a couple of years doing that. And then one day I decided to try barbells, right? And then I started doing the basic barbell exercises. And I Googled a little bit about barbell strength training. And the first thing that came up, as with what most people would find when they first Google it, is strong lifts, right? Strong lifts 5x5. I think a lot of people that started on barbell strength training started off with that. So that's the program that I followed, right? 5 sets of 5. And it worked for a little bit. But I very quickly realized that I couldn't make progress after a certain point. And I then started getting a bit of aches and pains along the way. So to find out a little bit more about how to work around these issues, I did a bit more searching online, and that led me to Starting Strength. And the more I read Starting Strength, the more sense it made. And I ended up ordering the book and reading it. And so the book made a lot of sense. Everything was very well thought out, very well presented. Everything had its purpose, and the whys and all were answered very, very clearly. And I went on it, started to do the program, started to make progress, and the aches and pains gradually went away. So this was right about when I was 21, 22 or so. And during this time, I started reading a lot about training and exercise. And the more I read, the more interested I became. And when I finished the army at age 23, I thought to myself, okay, this is what I'm going to do for my living. This is what I'm going to do for work. And then I just started to give personal training. At that point of time, the way I coach my clients was still the sort of typical, personal training stuff, because that's more or less what I knew at that point of time. That seems to be what everyone else is doing. So I thought that's the way to go. The typical, circuit training, machines, dumbbells and stuff. And after a while, I thought if I'm making pretty good progress in getting stronger on this barbell training thing with starting strength, using the starting strength method, maybe I can apply this to my clients as well. And so I started coaching some of them using this method. And as time went by, I found that they enjoyed it, right? The ones that were on it enjoyed the process, the quantifiable progress that they were making. And most of all, they found that the increase in strength that they had was very useful and applicable to their other areas of their life. Could be day-to-day living, like carrying the groceries, putting luggage in the overhead compartment, to sporting endeavors, right? They could be athletes in other sports, and they found that being a little stronger made it easier to do their sport. And encouraged by that, I started to coach more and more clients with this method, and the response was pretty good. And so I thought, okay, I wanna take this one step further, and I wanted to sort of learn from someone how to do this better. And I went to the Starting Strength website, had a search around, and found that there were no starting strength coaches, not only in Singapore, but not in Southeast Asia as well. And then I decided, okay, since there's no one, I'm going to be the first one. And I started working towards that process. It's a lot longer and harder than I thought it would be. I thought it would be just like any other sort of fitness certification that you can get during the weekend. I mean, how wrong I was. So it
how
took
long did it take you, Shaun?
About 2 years. It took about 2 years and 4 tries before I passed. And during this time, I have already been coaching people for a number of years. And a few of my clients, including and also my then girlfriend, now wife, mentioned that you what you're doing now is okay. This mobile personal training. So I used to go around to people's houses, rent space in someone else's gym to coach people, and they said that this is okay now, but it's not sustainable for the long term, and also you're very limited by how many people you can teach and coach at the same time, because you're beholden to someone else's schedule in their gym, if whether or not they allow, to allocate the space for you. And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, okay, maybe that's the next logical step to sort of progress in my career. And when I found out there were no starting strength coaches in Southeast Asia, there were also no starting strength gyms outside of the US. And as with the starting strength coach certification thing, I thought, okay, so then I maybe I'll be the first one. And to get to open and own a starting strength gym, now it's known as starting strength affiliate gym. In the past, it was just known as a starting strength gym. To own a gym, you first need to be a starting strength coach. Right. So one step at a time. And I passed the certification in late 2016. And I opened Hygieia Strength and Conditioning in February of 2017. Right. So that has been going on. I think we just celebrated our 9th anniversary a couple of weeks back. So that has been the process since I first started training till this day. Oh, yeah. And how I came up with the name for the gym, Hygieia Strength and Conditioning. So when I was thinking of the name of the gym, I was chatting with a friend, which is the same friend I was chatting with at 19 years old. It was the same guy. It was the same guy I was talking to. And he said that, your philosophy of training is not so much just for appearances, but more for, health and general well-being. And they thought that, Hygieia is a good name for that, because it sort of encompasses the idea of your beliefs. So Hygieia is the Greek goddess of health and wellness. And so I thought, yeah, that's a pretty good fit. So then, so I decided to register the business and name the gym Hygieia Strength and Conditioning. So, Eric, if you're listening to this, thank you.
Wow, Eric. Yeah.
Yes, it is Eric.
The only problem is that it's very hard to spell, right, Shaun? If somebody asks
Yes.
how to spell the gym name, and then like I often
Yes.
miss out all the letters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also over time, once in a while, someone will ask us in our class, what does Hygieia
yeah.
mean? And when we explain it, they're like, oh yeah, it makes sense.
It's a good story
So
to tell.
yes,
Oh, it's
it
Eric. I
is. It
didn't know.
is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
it is
wow.
Eric. It is Eric that got me to train when I was 19, and also gave me the idea for the name of the gym. Yeah, so
Awesome.
that has been the story of how I first started training all the way till now. So Marvin, how did you get here today?
Yeah. So thanks, Shaun. I I get to training totally the opposite reason from your reason of wanting to become slimmer and looking better. Yes, but I was very skinny to begin with. If you remember the first time I see you, my body weight was below 60 kilos. I think probably 56, 57 at that point of
Yeah,
time. And
yeah.
that was already 1 year after I started doing barbell training. So the very, very first time I got into this was because my friend introduced me to barbell training, also
Right.
using Strong Lift 5x5. So somehow the marketing for Strong Lift 5x5 is really good that it
At that,
introduced
at that
barbell
point
training
of,
at that point of time.
at that point of time,
Yes,
yes.
at that point of time probably. But still, thank you for the creator of Strong Lift. If not, then I wouldn't be able to find this kind of barbell training. So my friend introduced me to that. And at that point of time, I was around 54 kilograms, super, super light. I was less than 170 centimeters. So small, very skinny. And I want to get bigger. I want to look better. At that point of time, I was in my mid 20s. I started training and I realized that this is very different from how normal training is like, because I spend a lot of hours. It's not that I never go to the gym before. I've been to the gym. I do sports. And for some of the sports that I did before, I did pretty good at it as well. But the effect of training with barbell is totally different, where I can see, although not much at that point of time, I can see that my physique is improving. What attracted me to barbell training is because not that I can see the improvement in terms of physique, I can also see that the numbers of the weight that I lifted keeps on going up. And the way that it was being very systematic, starting strength and strong lifts program was quite similar. Um, it appeals me so much. Then I start doing it more and more until I got injured. And then what do you do if you got injured? Of course, I was a little bit scared, but then you start to try to learn what is it that I do wrong? What is it that I need to do so that I don't get injured again and again? Because at that point of time, it was already 2 or 3 injuries at that point of time. Then I came across starting strength. That was in YouTube. And then I see how Mark Rippetoe coaches the lifters and all of the other information that they provide online is very appealing because it's very systematic. It sounds very scientific at that point of time, right? But from my point of view, because I studied engineering, it's it's fascinating how this kind of new hobby that I have can be linked to some of the mechanical principle, physics that I studied when I was studying. So that's how I get into starting strength. And then at that point of time, what better way to get an exposure to starting strength than trying to find a starting strength coach, right? I was searching in Google for starting strength coach Asia. And luckily, at that point of time, Shaun has passed and he has opened his gym. This is around mid 2017. Then I contacted Hygieia, um, asking for a coaching session. I was really young, so I didn't have a lot of money at that point of time. I would just try to get one coaching session with Shaun so that he can see my form and correct my form based on the starting strength method. That day was, you remember, Shaun, the day where
Yes.
Manny Pacquiao
Pacquiao,
and Floyd
yes.
met. Yes. So
No,
that
no,
day,
that was Conor McGregor.
is it Conor McGregor?
I believe so. I believe it was Conor McGregor and Mayweather.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, I believe, if I remember correct, if my memory serves me right, it was
Okay, okay.
that day. Yes, okay. Yes. So it
Yeah,
was on a Sunday. It was on a Sunday, I remember.
it was
And
okay.
I scheduled the your session after what I thought the fight what time the fight would
Would
end.
end. Yeah. When I came to the gym, the gym was dark because I mean, like people are still watching, because
Yes.
the fight was delayed. And then Sean felt quite bad that I mean, people are still there, but I mean, I have scheduled someone. Do you want to train immediately? And then I say like, "Oh, I don't mind watching first, right?" Um, but yeah, that was my first day. I think I did pretty well. Some of the stuff were
Yeah.
correct, but I remember really clearly on the very first day when I did my deadlift, my legs started shaking. And then, very, very difficult because it was very tiring that day. In any case, from then, I decided to join Sean's semi-private group class. So it's at that point of time, there was no schedule. I mean, like online scheduling yet. Um, I was allocated, or I chose the Wednesday evening, Saturday morning session. So I came 2 times per week, and then with Sean's coaching at that point of time. That
Yeah.
is when I started to find out that, oh, this starting strength is not just for young people. So on the first day, there are a lot of young people over there watching the fight, right?
Yes.
But when I was really training, I saw that Sean's clientele was very different from what I expected. Especially on Saturday, that's the first time I saw Patricia, saw Pat, and then like,
Yeah.
what kind of barbell gym is this, right? There's an old lady, and then this old lady is quite strong. she's deadlifting 70, 80 kilograms at that point of time, and like, wow. And Sean at that point of time was not, the gym was not super, super busy yet, but more and more people come and more older people come to the gym. And this is very, very interesting. And because of that, because of if you see something that is really weird, you would ask, what's happening, right? So I asked Sean, I, I saw I saw Patricia, and then I saw another guy in the evening. Raj at that point of time
Yes.
already
Raj in
started
the
training with
evenings.
you. I think he trained
Correct.
at 9 p.m. after my session,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
People
Correct.
come at 9 p.m. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So what's the deal with it? And I started to learn that this is also very good for anybody, right? As you are aging, this will be beneficial. For Patricia, it was because of her osteoporosis. And Sean, I would encourage you to tell a bit more about Patricia later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at that point, I started to think about my parents, especially my mom. Wow, if this is useful for Patricia, I want to be able um, to give this to my mom as well, right? And a few months into the semi-private group class, we always had dinner together, right, Sean, with the
Correct.
other few clients in the class.
Yes.
That was
At, at
the
the
eating
corner
place.
coffee shop.
Yeah,
Correct.
the corner coffee shop
Yes.
is really awesome at that point of time. Too bad they closed down. So one day, the class were a bit quieter, so it was just me, you, and is it Chris? The old Chris Tiong.
Yeah. I might be.
Yes,
It might be.
which is your friend. Yes.
Yes.
So I started this conversation about how this is fascinating to me, and I asked Sean whether he is willing to teach me to do coaching, right? Because I feel I like it. I really like lifting, but I also want to be able to teach my mom And another reason is because from very early on, I already had a mindset in me, probably because of my parents as well. One day in my life, I need to make sure that I can open my own business to do things on my own instead of continue on working for somebody for the rest of my life. So this is something that I mentioned to Shaun very early on. Hey, I want to. I really believe in this, right? And I'm interested to learn. And if you can teach me, I would follow you, right? And and one day, if the opportunity comes, maybe we can expand this business together. So I know that if I'm doing this, I want to be included one day in the future when the time is right. And then Shaun says, I can't remember whether you answered me immediately, but the answer was quite positive. And um, I told Isabella at that point of time, my girlfriend, now wife, you know, when there's a movie where where the heaven opens and then the light from the sky opens, I I really thought that, okay, this is something that I really want to do for the rest of my life. And it seems like, oh, this is it. This is, I found my purpose, right? And I found the
Yeah.
way for my future. So it
Yeah.
was actually like that, Shaun. When you say,
Right.
yes,
Right.
okay, you
Right.
can, I can teach you. Then
I think it's
obvious,
all things coming together, right? So it's you
yes.
wanting to do this, but it's
Mhm,
also because at that point of time it was only me running the
mhm,
place, and I
mhm,
can't be alone forever. I need to grow this place, and I need to get
mm,
people in. So
mm.
it just right place, right time, right?
Came to the right place at the right time.
Correct.
Yeah. So I started interning at your gym shortly after that. But you said that
Yeah.
you need to make sure that you finish the blue book, the starting strength book
Yeah.
from the start to the end and understand it. And then the internship starts, right? So I started doing that. And I continue on doing that for 8 months, I think, while working full time at my job last time. I was working for a Japanese retail clothing company. So I work 5 days doing my full time job and then 2 days following you um, from the morning till whatever time you finish your day at that point of time. So working 7 days a week, it is tiring. There was one day I remember, right? There was no client, but I promised you that okay, I will come and then we will train together first. And then I
Yeah.
was late, right? I was
Yeah.
late, and then you were asking me, "Where are you?" Right? And if you're not serious at doing this, right, don't waste my time. And then that is really a wake up call for me, right? I think that yes, I really want to do this, but physically I cannot sustain doing something full time, 5 days a week, and doing this 2 times a week. So I need to create a decision. I need to make a decision. What should I choose for long term? At that point of time, I decided that I cannot continue my full time job. Let me resign and do this full time.
And also when
Yes.
you're working 5 days a week, you came here after you finished at your workplace,
Sometimes, if I
right?
can, I will go because
Right. There's also that.
yeah, like what I said just now, right? I really know that I really want to do this. So it's not like I'm,
Yeah.
yeah. I was serious, but I was really tired. And working in a
Yeah. Yeah.
retail company from really in the morning until evening, a lot of standing, a lot of physical
Correct.
things as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that happens. And then I tendered my resignation. I joined a few months after. Actually, the notice period is just 1 month, but I tendered my resignation a little bit earlier so that they can have transition. I start full time in Hygieia the day after my last day in my full time job. So there is no break. Immediately work full time 7 days a week again. Or at that point of time, I think you were still working for 7 days a week, right, Sean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So from 7 days a week, part time and full time, become full time in Hygieia. And then, yes, I passed my certification a few months after. So that was August, I believe, or September. I booked my seminar in May the next year, and I passed starting strength credentials my first time. And some people, oh yeah, you passed one time. Wow, so you're so smart or whatever. The difference is not because I'm smart and Shaun is not so smart. The whole difference is that you have someone teaching you and telling you what's wrong. And this is probably very different because Shaun, you come to the seminar and you notice that you were wrong right in the seminar itself, right? And then like,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes, yes. Because back then there was no coach development course. There was
Mm,
no one here to teach me. So everything was self-taught. And the thing
mm,
is, I don't know what I don't know. And
mm,
I did what I thought was correct. So when I went to the seminar for the first time and I opted in to get evaluated, and I saw that I've been doing it wrong the whole time. And that's when I realized, this is
Oh,
this is not the way, right? And then
money
so just
flies.
money flew away, and then
Mm,
just back to Singapore, and just took in. So the thing about the starting strength seminar going, if you are opting in to attempt to pass, even if you do not pass, you still learn something, right?
mm,
And I take these lessons back and sort of apply to myself, and then over time I slowly honed my skills and then got better over time and eventually managed to pass it.
mm,
Then, but things are a bit different now. There's a very good pipeline to get the credential. I
yeah.
believe, are you the first batch for the coaching development
I,
course?
I think that I am at least one of the first batch where they publicly offer it to anybody. And before
Right,
that, it was only offered to some of the people who are working for the existing starting strength gyms back then, the affiliate one right now. So the one in the US, they offer it to those people. So I was not the very first student, but
right,
I think I was one of the very first few, or if not the first one to pass. And
right,
yes, and overseas as well at that point of time. Yeah.
right.
So
Okay.
in fact, I didn't fully finish the coaching preparation course because I already bought it. I already bought the ticket
Yes,
first. And then I noticed that,
yes.
oh, there's this thing. Then I joined. I think I
Right,
finished halfway and then I need to go to the
right.
seminar and then I pass. And then then
Okay,
I
okay.
become a full-time starting strength coach at
Right,
Shaun's gym.
right.
Yes.
And
Um,
then from that point, you were coaching here for, I think that was probably 2018,
19.
19 or so, 19.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were doing that till 2025, correct? Last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the next step in the gym. So maybe you can expand
Yeah.
on that.
So remember that I mentioned that I always want to one day become a business owner. So every few years, I would, uh, when we are hanging out, having dinner together with Shaun, I would try to remind Shaun about that. Like, hey, you know, um, is it already time to open another gym, right? But at that point of time, I also noticed that, hey, yeah, the situation at the gym, especially. We have another coach coming over and then the gym is getting more and more crowded, whether it will be time for us to open another one. And I believe that probably Shaun will explain the reasoning a little bit more for that. But um, last year in September, finally we opened the second branch, and this time round, I become the co-owner of the gym. So this is where we are right now. We are at the gym, and it's been open. Actually, yes, today, Shaun, it is the 6 month um,
Yay.
from the opening day. 6 months
That's
exactly.
fast. That's very
Yes.
fast, man.
Yeah.
Time really
Yeah.
flies.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
from you passing, so you passed in 2019,
Yeah.
right? And then of course 2020, 2021, that the whole world
Yes.
went to shit, right? So
It
there
was
was
very scary.
no
Yeah.
it was, yeah, we had to close the gym, and so it was such a huge mess. But
Mm,
thankfully we got through that. And also we were lucky in a way that because of COVID, more and more people were very aware of their health.
mm,
And gyms started, or rather getting stronger and, fitness and health, it started getting more awareness,
Yeah.
and business started to pick up a little bit. So during those few years, that yes, I always remember the conversation that yes, eventually that you want to open your own place. That has always been on my mind. But I was waiting for the right time and also the right place, right?
Mm.
We want to find a place that can sustain the business and is not so close or too far from where we are. So roughly somewhere, equidistant from the center of Singapore, which it currently is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years, with once in a while we'll go and visit some units, and either the location was not good, or the layout of the place was not good, or the rent was too high, or something or other. I think we came across this place in 2025, and we thought, wow, this looks pretty good. And then we started to go for it, and yeah, 6 months has passed, and so far so good, with businesses growing, get more and more
Mm-hmm.
clients. So things are looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Shaun,
yeah,
can I
yeah,
can I circle back to a very important person, which is Patricia?
correct.
She is because she's my inspiration of why I want to do this in the first place, right? And
Yeah.
um, I want to understand how you get to the point of time whereby you know that, oh yeah, you want to train more older adults, and you can get it because there are a lot of coaches who actually want to train older adults as well, but um, they are still trying to find this group of people. Mhm. How does
Yeah.
Patricia came to the gym at that point of time?
So, okay, so before Patricia came, before I opened the gym, I was still doing like house calls and, coaching people outside. And the clientele was very varied. I had younger
Mm,
people, middle-aged, older people. And along the way, when I coached them, I realized that when an older person, 50s, 60s, or 70s, when they get stronger, it makes a very big impact and difference on their lives, right? They are
mm,
able to more easily go around. You don't have to rely on someone for day-to-day activities, like, climbing upstairs to get out the car. And I found that when I see that happening, it is very satisfying
mm,
to be part of that, of their experience of improving their quality of life. I mean, it's cool to see, someone in the 20s or 30s deadlift 300. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it's cool, but I think it's more cool to see a 70-year-old deadlift her own body weight for a set of 5. Right? I think that's pretty cool. So I decided that, okay, since it's enjoyable, it is very satisfying, and at that point in time, I didn't see any or much supply catering to the needs of this demographic. So I thought it would be a good market to go in. So I decided that, okay, this is the market that I want to focus on. So I tried to center all my marketing activities towards this demographic.
mm,
How Patricia came about was actually a recommendation from a friend of mine. So Patricia has been measuring her bone density for a couple of decades now. And over time, she can see it slowly declining. So she has taken medication for it in the past. There was a slight increase, but then it continued to decrease again. And back in 2017, when she did her sort of yearly bone mass density scan, she had entered the osteoporotic range. And so, of course, naturally, she was very concerned. And her GP, which is my friend, Dr. Sanjay, told her that she had two options. The first is to try another type of medication, or to try this exercise that specifically targets and increases bone density. So at that point in time, he didn't elaborate on what this is, because he sort of understood that if he immediately told someone in their 60s that they need to be squatting, deadlifting, and pressing heavy barbells, it can be very off-putting, or if someone is not comfortable to that, and then they will not be willing to explore this option. So she just said that, there's this gym here that does these kind of exercises that can help to your situation. Would you like to give it a try? So thankfully, she said, yeah, okay, I don't want to take more medication. Let me try this route. So she contacted me, and when she came into the gym, she was actually a little bit surprised to see this, right? She was expecting like a normal gym having machines and treadmills and dumbbells and stuff. And so she was a little bit taken aback. She was a bit, oh, what is this? And she started asking me what it's all about. And I explained to her the what we do here, what are the exercises that we do, why do we use barbells, and how this is safe. And she thankfully was open to giving it a try. And so she said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And then she started to train. And a few months in our training, I was just talking to her, and then I sort of asked her where she stays and everything. So it turns out that I have sort of met her in the past. When I was still doing house calls, I was coaching a client in the condo gym. And occasionally, actually not occasionally, quite frequently she'll be there. I will notice this older lady using the machines, doing lat pull downs and leg extensions. And that actually turned out to be Pam. So very, very small world. And so this also goes to say that it's not that she was not active. She was very active. She would cycle, she would hike, she would go to the gym. But because the things that she did were not specific to induce the adaptations that she wants, which is increased bone density, her bone density continued to decline. And so she continued to train. About a year or two later, she went back to do another bone density scan and found that it has actually increased. Right, so that was definitely, of course, very encouraging. And that sort of further motivated her to sort of keep training. Along the way, together with the increase in the bone density, she also got stronger. And actually, she became quite strong. I think she was surprised at the amount of progress that she was able to make during training, right? So when she first started, I think if I remember correctly, her first session deadlift was like, I think 30 or 35 kgs or something along those lines. And since then, so she's been training for almost as old as the gym, so about 9 years or so. She has gone on to enter competitions. So initially, when I encouraged her to join, just to give her a little, encouragement or to do something that is maybe a little bit outside of her comfort zone, to push her a little bit to join a competition that we hold annually in the gym. We hold
In-house, right, Shaun?
our in-house,
So,
correct, our in-house, our strength lifting gym, our strength lifting meet rather. And she decided, okay, she was open to trying it because it was all our own clients. So it was a familiar location and familiar people. So she was comfortable to do that. And she realized that, she actually could do pretty well. And that sort of spurred her to join more and more competitions. And till this day, I think she has multiple like Singapore, Asian, and some state records in the US. So she's come a long way. So she came here for the bone density increase. But I mean, state as a record-breaking
Asian champion.
powerlifter. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Asian
So
champion at that point of time. So,
yes, she's come a long
do
way.
you remember, Shaun, there was one meet where she joined. This is not in-house. This is the Singapore powerlifting meet. I think nationals, where a lot of people are coming. And then one of the Singapore minister came.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
noticed, like, who is that lady? Who is that? I mean, at that point of time,
not that many.
Not that many. Yes.
Yeah.
And now there are way more older ladies who are competing in powerlifting. But I think if you can say who's the original one, Patricia was the original one. Yeah, and it was so eye catching that the minister asked, "Hey, can I talk to that lady?" And at that point of time, Patricia says, "Oh,
She said
I'm
no.
focusing. No,
Yes.
no,
No.
no,
No.
you're not
No.
important enough, minister.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to focus on this thing. Yeah,
Yes.
but because of that, um, the minister actually posted in social media, and from social media, the national newspaper, the Straits Time, contacted you, right, asking, "Hey,
Yeah.
you are the trainer for this lady. We want to conduct an interview," and that becomes a very good marketing for us, of course. But it's the better thing is that this is like a sort of a trigger, I feel, for a lot of older ladies to start considering
Yes.
strength training because there's a role model that has done it and has been successful, right?
Yes. Yes.
At that point of time, her bone density has gone up, right, Sean?
Yes, it has. Yes, it has
Mhm,
already gone up. And yeah, she I think she shows a lot of other ladies in her age that it
mm,
not only can be done, but it should be, because it
mm,
helps both your bone density and also your strength, which is very important as one gets older. Because as you get older, you lose bone density, you lose strength, you lose muscle mass. It's just a natural part of getting older. But it's not just something that you have to accept. You can do something about it. And I think she has showed a lot of other ladies in her age group that it can be done. Right?
And I think she's not only showing it because of her result in powerlifting, heavy lifts, and everything, right? I feel that she is very friendly, very open to people
Yeah.
inquiring, what did you do? And she would start sharing these stories to ladies in person. And I
Yeah.
believe that she helped a few of our clients who were potential client at that point of time to understand what is going on in your gym, right, Sean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's very, very generous with her time and sharing her experience. So because of the things that we post and on the newspapers, people read it and find out about her and want to start training, but they are apprehensive. Right? They are
Mm,
worried that they have a specific condition that they have, that this might not be suitable for them. So every time when I ask Pat if she's open to having a chat with these ladies, be it physically in the gym, or if they're located overseas, she'll set up like an email or a call to answer their questions,
mm.
right? To let them feel at ease that this is actually safe and doable. So she has
Yeah,
been
amazing.
very, very generous. Yeah, she's very generous with with helping other ladies, and has done so for I can't even count how many people that she's helped over the years that she's been training. So
Yeah,
yeah, very, very, very grateful to have met Patricia.
Patricia. Yes. Um, you mentioned a little bit about how she is already training, but the bone density score
Correct.
continued to go down,
Correct.
and how after she started barbell training, then it starts to go up again,
Yes. Correct.
right? What do you think is the difference in how we do training and how she did the training before that causes this difference, Sean?
The Okay, so there are two main things, right? The first and the most important thing is that the exercises that she was doing was not the exercises that load the bone axially. So compressing the bone this way. So let's say if this is a spine, we need to compress
Mhm,
it downwards. So you need axial loading to get the bones to adapt to that stress and get denser. So that's the first step, right? You need to do the exercises that compress and load the bones axially. The second thing is that you need to progressively overload that training stress. So for example, if you come in on the first day and you do X amount of kilos on, say, your squat, you have to keep going up in weight so that the bone and also the muscles and everything around it continue to adapt to that increasing amount of stress that's placed on it. What she was
mhm,
doing in the past was, like leg extensions, lat pull downs. And when I asked her, she didn't really increase the load over time. So firstly, the exercises didn't load the bone in the way that it needs to be, and the load was not increasing. So which is why even though she was active, she was going to the gym often, she didn't see the result that she wanted. Right. And the exercises that we do here, the barbell lifts that we do here, do both. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main difference as to why she saw an increase in bone density here, but didn't when she was training on her own.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
If
when come again?
Go ahead, Sean. Yeah.
So but the thing is that when to the casual observer, this appears to be very dangerous.
Yeah.
It appears to be at putting yourself at a very high risk of injury, not only for someone that's younger, but even more so when they're older, right? So we sometimes get questions asking us that, how is this safe for us? And I'm already of a certain age. It is something that I can do. But we have found that it is not only safe, it is also very beneficial. So when someone comes and asks us whether this is safe or not, how would you answer? So let's say someone walks into the gym and says that I want to start training, but I'm 60 or 70 years old. Is this suitable for me? How would you answer that?
Well, the first thing that comes in mind is that they should be willing to come and do the experience, right? Come and give it a try. And this is what you always do when someone is a little bit scared. It's a very good idea to schedule their session, or for example, if this is the parents of a client or whoever, come to a certain time whereby another older lifter is also lifting. I think having a visual reference that, hey, this can be done by one of your peers would help a lot. But
Yeah.
I believe that we will explain how barbell is safe a little bit later on. But there needs to be a certain amount of courage from the person to be able to experience it. And I think this is the very important part for us as coaches as well. We need to make sure that we have both the knowledge and the experience as well, and probably the soft skill as well to handle this group of people, to make them feel at ease and to have to allow us to guide them so that we can make them move and do the exercises safely.
Yeah.
And I think we should also discuss later how we can, for example, modify, or what are the considerations that we have when seeing a new lifter coming in to so that they can do the exercises safely in case, for example, the standard exercises doesn't work. But
Yep.
maybe, Sean, can we discuss a little bit of what are the things that we actually do to help these older individuals at the gym?
So the barbell lifts,
Yes. So yes, we are doing barbell lifts, right? What are the
correct.
barbell lifts and why we do this barbell lifts in the first place? Maybe.
Right. So the basic barbell lifts that we do are the squat, the bench press, the deadlift, and the overhead press. We don't usually add in the power cleans because most of our clients are a little bit older and they're not so cute to learn that. Or rather we see that there's no need for them to do that. So for the 4 basic barbell lifts, why we choose them? Because these are normal human movement patterns that we do in our day-to-day living. Squatting down, standing up, picking stuff off the floor, putting stuff, pressing overhead to put stuff overhead. These are all normal human movements that we do, just that in the gym, we do them loaded so that incrementally over time, these movement patterns can become stronger, and they can then use the strength acquired from these lifts to apply in other activities. Also, why do we not break up the body into muscle groups, right? Because when we interact with our surroundings, we do not ever use one joint, right? You always move around using many joints and many muscles at the same time. So we don't train in that manner because of that. It is also not time efficient, right? There's only X amount of time that you can spend in the gym. And if you want to spend, a certain amount of time on every muscle group, it's not going to be time efficient. Secondly, you cannot load the body as much if you train in isolated. So if you train like a single muscle group at a time, and if you don't, if you're not exposed to heavy loads, and then we don't get the effect of the increased bone density and strength that we want. So the criteria that is used to choose these three lifts is actually created by starting strength. Right? So maybe Marvin, you can explain a bit more about what these criteria are and how it comes about to determine that out of all the hundreds and thousands of barbell lifts that we can do, how do we derive in these few?
Yeah. So we have three different main criteria of why we choose these 4 exercises. So number 1, right? We want to use as many muscle group as possible within the movement. So if we think about squatting, for example, the bar is on top of your back. You squat down by bending your knees and your hip, right? You're bending your knees and then you are hinging. So the muscles that is actively involved in this muscle group are the muscles that help you that allow you to bend your hip and your knees and then straighten it back up. Let me try to repeat. So for the squat, for example, right, there are a few muscle groups that are the main contributor in the movement. So the knee and hip extensor, it allows you to go down to the squatting position and stand back up. Those muscle groups are actually quite big, right? The glutes, the hamstrings, the adductors, and also the quads in front of your thighs. But because you are also holding on to the bar on top of your back over here, your torso needs to be rigid. So see how many muscle groups are working at the same time. So this is the first criteria, trying to use as muscle mass as possible. 2, we want to move in the greatest effective range of motion as possible. So we do not want to just move a little bit. We try to make sure that this movement are continuous while the muscle are still in constant contraction. We do not want to loosen, and that might actually increase the risk of injury or whatsoever. But if we can keep it safe, we want to try to move in a greater range of motion. And with that, the other goal, like we have mentioned a few times before, we are very particular about the weight. We want to be able to utilize the greatest amount of mass, greatest amount of resistance. Of course, this is going to be progressed a little bit at a time, right? But the idea is we want to have more and more load on us. Those are why these 4 different criteria, 4 different exercises are being used. And I believe that if you are someone that is very new to the gym, is it easier for you to learn 4 different exercises, get good at it, and see results? Or do you actually prefer to learn 10, 15, 20 different exercises, right? So in terms of mastery, it's going to be very difficult to master 20 different kind of exercises, right? We rather focus at 4, especially if this 4 can really, really help you to get your goal into becoming stronger.
Right.
Maybe we need to actually explain why this obsession for us, right, to increase the weight, right? Why we need to increase the load instead of just doing more and more repetitions? Isn't adding more and more, doing more and more? If I can do 3 last time and I can do 10 now, am I supposed to be stronger, right, Shaun? How do you answer
Yes.
this? Mhm.
So we measure strength as force production, and we use weight on the bar as a proxy for that. So while, say for example, if you can squat 100 kilos for a set of 3, and now you can do it for a set of 5. The thing is, the amount of force that you produce to do more reps has not increased. You have produced the same amount of force to lift the weight up. So I wouldn't use that as a metric for performance. For us, our metric performance is an increase in strength, and that is measured by an increase in weight on the bar, right? So if you squat 100 kilos for 3 today, and you can squat 110 kilos for 3 in a month's time, then the amount of force that you can produce has increased. And then we take that as your strength has increased as well. So that is why we use that as a measurement of progress. If the weight
Mhm.
on the bar has not gone up over time, then something is wrong somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Either we have messed up, or maybe we need to have a discussion on recovery. What are you doing outside the gym that is
Mhm.
not allowing the progress that we want to be made? Right.
Yeah.
So, but when we talk about lifting, heavy weights and everything, some people get very, very nervous, right? But the thing is that the heavy is relative, right? Heavy to someone may not be heavy to someone else. What we want is to get to a weight that is heavy for a person that would allow them to do maybe no more than, say, between 3 to 5 reps, right? So when we get that, then we will say that is heavy for that person. For someone coming in, a 70-year-old lady coming in for the first time, that may be 5 kilos, that may be 7.5 kilos, but it doesn't matter. What matters is there more weight on the bar as time passes, right?
Mhm.
So I think that is important to mention, that because once you mention heavy barbell training, people will most likely think of someone in their 20s or 30s squatting an enormous amount of weight. Because if
Mhm.
you go on YouTube or you go and Google heavy barbell training, that's what you see. Right? You see
Mhm.
young guys lifting ginormous weights,
Mm.
which is not the case for
Yeah.
that is like maybe 0.1% of the population.
Right. Just now about the load on the bar getting increased, that also signifies that our body is able to produce more force. And how we interact with our environment, right? How we move, how we do our daily activities, we need to produce this amount of force. That's why it's more important for you to have the capacity of force much higher than needed, right? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially older people, are very, very afraid that they will hurt their back carrying, for example, a sack of rice or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you are way, way stronger than the 5 kilo or the 10 kilo of the sack of rice, right? You, we can do this. We can lift it off the floor without much care, because our capacity is way, way more than that. And that is how
Yeah.
we want to interact with the environment, not with nervousness, anxiousness that it might hurt us, but with confidence, because we know we have the capacity to produce way more force, that this is just a
Yeah.
nothing,
It's
right?
it's a very small
Mhm.
percentage of what you're capable of doing,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the smaller the percentage, the easier it is to do that, and it
Yes.
becomes become less anxious when you got to do it,
Hmm.
right?
And
So
we were.
it
Mhm. Please, sir.
no,
Yes.
can
Yeah. So just now we have been talking about barbell, and more weight on the barbell. But there are certain instances where on the very first day, when we teach the squat, for example, usually that's the first thing that we teach for anybody who
Mhm.
come to our gym. When we teach the squat, okay, we decide that let's not use the barbell first, because just by sitting down and standing up with your body weight, it is already a stress that is enough for you. That is what the best that you can do. Then in this case, it's also no problem. We know how to progress you from there. Mhm. That is what I wanted to add, Shaun.
Right. So also to add on your thing about, having as the activities of daily living become a smaller percentage of our capability. So getting stronger, right? It helps you to be stronger to do more things, as what you mentioned, more things easily, increase your bone density. Another thing I want to mention is there's a big concern for older adults is balance, right? More importantly, losing balance and falling down.
Yeah.
Right. So to maintain balance is basically keeping your center of mass between or over your base of support, right? If you can maintain that relationship, you are in balance. And when someone falls over, it is not because that they are. So let me backtrack. So balance is maintained by three things, right? Firstly, the vestibular system, your vision, in your ears, your vision, and your proprioception, how you feel yourself in space. So by using these things, you sort of find where you are in space to maintain that balance, the relationship of center of mass over base of support. Now, most older adults, when they fall, it is usually not because these systems are failing. It is because when the relationship between the center of mass and the base of support goes out, they are unable to get that center of mass back over their base of support. So they cannot catch themselves when they're falling. So if they're walking along, the floor is slippery or there's a little bump and they trip and they fall, they are unable to put the other feet forward fast and with enough force to hold themselves and regain the balance. Either that or they can't catch themselves. So that is usually why and how older people fall. So by increasing the amount of force you can produce, you can sort of help to prevent that. Because when an older adult falls, it can be very problematic, right?
Yeah.
So just wanted to add on the benefits of being stronger when you're older. So earlier you're saying that when you come in, you don't always have to start with a barbell, right? So maybe you can talk about when someone steps into the gym, how do we assess them and how do we start them, say from the first day that they walk in and over the next few months? So say someone in their, say 70s or whatever.
Yeah. So of course, the moment they come in, we would say hello, we'll have conversation. We have lifting shoes over here. You please sit down, change your shoes, change the equipment, right? Basically getting ready, using all of the equipments that they need, setting it up. And while this process is happening, of course, we are also paying attention to the lifter themselves, how they are walking, how easy is it to sit down, stand up, wear their shoes, bend down, everything, right? So this is where the assessment start. The easier this activity is to you, then the process is going to be a little bit more normal. But there are clients who come showing signs that maybe it's a little bit harder for them to sit down and then stand back up. And with this, the teaching progression that we do will change a little bit, right? So normally, when we are teaching the squat, we want to start with the bar, for example. But if, for example, there's already difficulty in sitting down and standing up, is it wise to immediately use a bar, especially a heavy bar? Probably not. Sometimes we would give them some assistance using like setting a seat for them by stacking some bumper plates so that they can sit down to a range of motion to the height that they feel comfortable, right? And let's say this is the kind of client that comes to our gym. We are very used to this. No problem. Maybe in the very first day, this is the height that you are doing, right? You need to squat to this depth. Over the period of the next few weeks, I want to try either one or two things. Thing number one is to try to reduce this a little bit at a time. until this person can squat down to where the hip crease is slightly below the kneecap, hold it there for a few seconds, and come back up without any help. Or I would slowly add a little bit of resistance. So then again, sometimes I find it suitable to add a very light bar. The lightest bar that we have in this gym is 2.5 kilo, 5 kilo at Hague Road. I can use that, or I would just pass them a small plates like the one that we have over there, either a 2.5 kilogram or a 1.25 kilogram, for them to hold on and to squat down and stand up. As the weight gets heavier and heavier, we know that they are also getting stronger, and we will bring them back into the normal barbell training. This is if they are not able to do barbell training from day one. This is the adjustment for squat, but there are also other stuff that we do for overhead press, for deadlift, for bench press, depending on their range of motion, the flexibility, the level of strength. We would adjust depending on what they can do or what they cannot do. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. So basically, it is as much as possible, we want them to be able to do the lifts as outlined in the stunning strength method.
Mm-hmm.
But if that is not possible, either at the start or at all, we want to get as close as possible to doing this lift, because as we mentioned earlier, these lifts, they give you the best bang for your buck. So for like for older guys especially, the shoulder flexibility is usually not the best. So not everyone is able to do a low bar squat. So what do? We do a high bar squat. I have a client in his 70s that had a motorcycle accident when he was younger, and the shoulders, you just can't hold the bar this way. So he will use a safety squat bar, right? So he's still squatting, he's still doing the same movement patterns and still being loaded. So these kind of variations are on a case-by-case basis. So when the person comes in, we sort of see how they are moving, and then we assess if how close can we get to the parent lift. Can we gradually get there over time? Or is this something that we know that's not going to be possible? Say, for example, the guy with the shoulder surgery. And then if that's the case, then we just make a permanent change to the lift, and we just progress from there.
Carry on from there. Mm-hmm.
Right? And it always starts at a weight that's manageable, maybe slightly challenging, but a weight that you can still do with good form. And then gradually over time, then the weight goes up, and that's how you make progress from there. Right? So that is how we would coach someone from day one, moving forward.
Yeah. So we have that particular model that we learn from starting strength, and that is the optimal situation. But if we cannot reach that, then the main priority is to get them to progress so that they can improve in terms of weight, in terms of the movement, and carry on, right? And hopefully this will affect their daily life as well, right, Shaun?
Yeah. Because it inevitably, when you have someone in their 60s or 70s coming in, they're going to have some form of aches and pains or injury, right? It's just a byproduct of being alive for 6-7 decades. There's going to be something. So we just need to be aware of this and the workaround that we can implement for them to still be able to train productively, right? Because at the end of the day, we still need to drive up their strength.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have, I think, if anything else to add to that, I think pretty much covers what we want to say for this episode.
Let me add something, Shaun. I think not only that it will benefit them physically, right, by training strength, but mentally as well, right? And how this is related. Some of our older clients, when you are loading the weight and everything, you need to calculate, and this is almost like a mental practice.
Yes.
I need to add 3.5 kilo. How do I get to 3.5 kilo? I think this is really good, right? To keep them sharp.
That helps.
Yes, having community to to interact with them as well, right? Chit chat, banter when you are training at the
Yes.
gym. And overall, if you are being physically stronger, you are able to do more things in your life, right? You can go out, do some activities that you like, and come back feeling happier, right? This is very important. And of course, the opposite is what we want to prevent. We never want our independence to be taken away from us in terms of like daily activities. Imagine if, for example, if we are too weak physically, that someone needs to help us doing daily stuff. Or, for example, sometimes physically we are okay, but mentally starts to go down, that, oh, people start to remind you stuff and everything. And I think that this is very, very correlated. If you have a good physical strength, then in this case, you can safeguard or trying to maintain the mental capability better when you are stronger. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Being physically active definitely has a positive impact on your cognitive skills and all that kind of stuff. So definitely being active would be helpful for that. And also, okay, to add on to what you mentioned, so maybe I'll end off with this story. You were saying that it allows you to do more things or carry on doing the things that you like to do. So a couple of months back, I have this lady in her 70s. So she came in initially for bone density, to increase her bone density because she was osteoporotic. And after a year or so of training, she went back to do a bone density scan. Her bone density went up, I think 19 or 20%. So she's very happy with that. But other than that, she likes to travel. Right? She loves to travel, and she likes to travel to maybe somewhat more offbeat places. So one of the places she visited earlier this year was a more unknown part of the Great Wall of China. Right, so she was traveling with a group of friends. Some were her age, some were a bit younger than her, and there was this part of the wall that required them to sort of go up this steep slope with stairs, and there's a viewpoint at the end. So when they got to the bottom of the viewpoint, she said, "I wanna carry on to go up and see this view." But her travel companions, which were, I think some of them were, a number of them were younger than her, didn't want to join her because they were worried that if they couldn't make it up there, and their knees were aching, they had sort of aches and pains, and they were worried that they couldn't make the climb. So she said, okay, all right, I'll see you later. So she just carried on, right? She went up there, enjoyed the view, and came back down. So imagine if she was not able to do that. She would have not been able to experience, what the view was on top. This is just a very, very small thing, but I think it is very liberating when you are able to do things, because I'm sure as when she was younger, she was able to do that. And I think being able to do that, decades later, while her peers are not really able to do so, I think she was very, very pleased with that. When she came back on that trip and she recounted her trip to me, she was very pleased with what she was able to do. Right?
Can understand why, right? Especially if you think about that, like what you said, if that was 30 years ago, probably the friends would also be able to do that, for example, right?
Yeah.
It's just because of this process of aging and getting weaker. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
for
right.
the
So,
story, Shaun.
all right. So I think that that has everything we've discussed or mentioned everything that we wanted to cover in our first episode. So thank you for joining us. If you have any feedback on how we can improve this podcast, please do let us know. And if there's any things or any topics that you'd like to speak about on future episodes, please do let us know as well. All right. So I think thank you for joining us, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.